Okay, so today we're going to be making two different constructions using just a compass and a writing utensil. And we're not going to be using any kind of measurements, so we're just going to pretend that the little numbers and lines on our little compass here, we're going to pretend like they don't even exist. So the first one that we're going to be doing is a perpendicular bisector, and I'm just going to point you guys down here. And I'm just studying you now. Alright, I think that'll be good. Okay, and so the first thing that we want to do with our perpendicular bisector is we just want to go ahead and make a line segment that we're going to call AB. Now it doesn't matter the length, and again we're not using these numbers, so just pick however long you want to make it. I'm going to say about, and again, you want to make your line straight. Alright, so I'm going to call this line segment AB by labeling those points. Alright, I think you can see that. Okay, and so now that we have line segment AB, using our compass, we want to somehow pick a random point on this segment that's past the middle, or what we think is the middle. So I kind of think that the middle is about right here, so I'm going to pick a point that's after here, but not after the line segment, not past the line segment. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to put my compass, this white dot, right here. I'm actually going to use a pen to stabilize it. I'm going to put it on point A. And again, I'm just using this to stabilize it. And I'm going to move this red part of the compass down a little bit so that my point is after what I think the middle would be. And sometimes it gets a little hard to move it, but you can do it. Okay, so now I have my red dot where I think the middle, where it's past the middle, and I'm just going to take my marker and make an arch. So this is called an arch that we just made. And now we're going to do the same exact thing, but on point B. And we're going to use the same exact dot that we used even. So don't touch this, don't mess with that, don't move it. And again, we're just going to put this white dot, the clear dot, on point B. I'm going to go ahead and stabilize it with my pen. And I'm just going to make an arch using the same point that I used. And I'm just going to darken my arch, like that. So now we have two overlapping arches. And we're going to label the 2 points where the two arches meet. So I'm going to label this one point C, and this one, I'm going to do point D. And so we said we're going to make a perpendicular bisector of segment AB. And so we know that perpendicular means that it's going to cut the line segment, and that the cut per se is going to intersect it at a 90-degree angle, and bisector means it's going to be cut in the middle, in half. So because C and D cut it in half, cut the segment AB in half, we can simply just draw a line from C to D with a straight edge, and that's going to make a perpendicular bisector. And so you can easily see here that this is definitely perpendicular, and if we got our little protractor out and measured it, it would definitely be 90-degree angles. And so we're just going to label this like that, because these are all 90-degree angles. And so that's it for perpendicular bisector. Okay, and so now moving on, I'm just going to move this we're next going to be working with a congruent angle. So, let me make sure you guys can still see this. Okay. We're going to be making an angle that is congruent to a given angle. So firstly, we just want to make an angle. Any angle, a random angle, random size, not using a protractor, not measuring. So I'm just going to draw a line, or a ray rather. And this size of the line doesn't matter, because as we know, this arrow means that it's going to go on forever, and lines go on forever, so that doesn't matter, so you don't have to measure it. I'm going to put a dot here, and I'm going to call it A. And then at the point of A, I'm just going to pick a random sized angle, and I'm just going to make another line. And again, we're not measuring anything or figuring out angle sizes or degrees. So here we have A. And now what we're trying to do with this given angle that we just made, we want to construct an angle that is congruent to it. But we're not measuring, we're not using protractors or rulers. So what you can do, now that you have your given angle, is you want to make a ray. And again, the size of this line doesn't matter because it's going to go on forever, since we have an arrow right by it and lines going forever. And I'm just going to call this angle D. Okay? And so now I'm going to pick a random point on this ray of the angle A, and I'm going to make a point there. And I'm going to call that one B. And so now what I'm going to do is take my compass again, and I'm going to put this clear circle on point A, and I want to get one of these dots on point B. So again, I'm just using my pen for stability, and I'm going to go ahead and move this circle closer so that it's on top of B, on top of point B. And now that it's on top of B, I'm just going to go ahead and make an arch. See how it makes an arch right there? So what that does is give us the distance that we need so that we can make a point B on ray D. Okay? And so since we want the same exact distance, you want to use the same exact placement of this red tool. So you don't want to move it again. And you want to place the clear tool on D, on point D. Make sure it's stabilized. And then use the same exact dot in the same exact position that you did for point B. And you're just going to make another arch. And so that gives us a point similar to point B, or congruent to point B. And I'm going to call that one point E. You can call it whatever you want. And now we have one part of it. So the next part that we want to do is we want to do this kind of the same thing, but we want to get this point now so that we can get the angle, the same exact angle, you know. So what we want to do is place this clear dot on point B now, and we want to get one of these dots right at that little intersection where the arc meets the ray, the line. So we're going to put it on B and kind of move this around until it meets that. And just to make it easier, I'm actually going to put a point right there so that it's easier to see through my little hole. Okay. And now that I have my point location, I'm just going to make another arc. And I know my little arcs are a little rusty, but it serves the point because it's bold where I need it to be, which is right on that intersection. So now we have the final point there, and I'm going to call that point C. And so we're going to use the exact same position on the compass. And since we started at B with the clear point on this angle, we're going to start at E with the clear point on this angle. And we're just going to place it on E. And use this to stabilize it, keep it in place so it doesn't move. And then I'm going to take my marker and make yet another arc. And so that intersection is congruent with that intersection. And so we can make a point right there. And we're going to call that one point F. And now we can just connect our points. And so that's how you make two congruent angles with a given angle.